All right. Thank you and welcome back to another Gathering of Momentum. It's been a while. We're lucky enough today to have Harald Kautz Vella on with us once again and Shayne Benattar. Hey guys, how you doing?
Fine so far.
Just great. Amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, yeah, it's been a bit of a gap in between our last few talks, so we're going to basically nut out some pretty important topics which are coming to light now across the internet in full stream. This really is an exciting time to be alive because we have the internet, we have the access, and we have the people power who are now coming online. They're gradually waking up and people are questioning things, they're looking up at the skies, they're questioning the vaccines, and the house of cards basically coming crashing down for the mainstream media and also the big corporations, because this consciousness is rising. We've got this increase in Schumann frequency and a lot of stellar activity, which is actually helping people to awaken, you know, whether it's through health, whether it's through information or truth or ceremony. There's a lot of native practices which are going on around the world, which people are jumping into and reconnecting with the earth. So what I want to do just to start this gathering of momentum is just for 1 minute, I'm just going to do a little prayer and say thanks to Mother Earth and a few things. So if you guys just want to close your eyes just for 1 minute and we'll give thanks. So I'd like to give thanks to Mother Earth for supporting all life on this planet and everything we do. And a big thanks to the elemental spirits, the ones that are seen and unseen throughout all space and all time. Me, Shayne, and Harald are here today, and we set our intention to basically put out truth, empowering information that can awaken people to step into their power and become warriors for Mother Earth, because we only have one Earth, and it's really important that we look after Mother Earth and come together in unity. This is what it's all about, spreading information and helping people to help themselves. So we give thanks to the spirits, thank you to Mother Earth, and thank you to all the people out there in places like Standing Rock who have put their lives on the line and have decided that in this lifetime they're going to fight. So thank you very much, guys. Aho matakuyasam. There we go. I think that's how we should start all these gatherings of momentums, just a bit of respect for this beautiful earth that we live on, you know. So guys, like, I know we've got so much information ready to go today, so I think what we should do is, one of the topics obviously is big and it's hitting the mainstream, is the Geo Engineering. It's becoming a more normal topic. Even my parents, you know, my dad goes outside and he's like, Geo Engineering, and he points at the sky, you know, and my old man 5 years ago would just looked at me and gone, give me a pat in the back and gone, you need to go to a mental asylum. So it's amazing to see so many people from so many different walks of life who are coming online and starting to help and starting to question and starting to want answers. And this is what we need to put out there: the facts of what we know for sure, what we can do about it, how it's affecting us, and if it's affecting us, and what are the repercussions to do with this this topic and these programs which are going on, because they are programs. It's not just a one-off thing happening in one country. This is a global program, and we're all noticing it, we're all feeling it. We're actually feeling the EMF and the microwave frequencies which are you know, being shot out of the phone towers. So I feel like if we could just probably go right to the start, to the person who's going to be new to this gathering of momentum, because Shayne's bringing on a lot of people from his Connecting Consciousness Instagram account, and there's a lot of people jumping onto YouTube and asking a lot of questions, and they want answers. And quite frankly, Harald's got some of the best videos on YouTube to do with geoengineering, artificial intelligence, and all that. So if you guys haven't been on Harald's YouTubes, check him out, Harald Kautz Vella, and get on there. They're all loaded with information. And yeah, where do you guys want to start?
Well, just one thing that I find is it makes a big difference is just how you bring it up to someone that they are spraying. And I made the mistake of being, the first thing you want to say is, we're being sprayed with chemicals. But if you kind of say to someone like the government's spraying us with chemicals, obviously if they're not aware, like they think you're crazy. So that's not, and I've learned from experience, the best way to try to raise awareness about it. It's all about how you word it. So it's a little better to say, private corporations may or may not be involved in weather modification operations, which there are treaties that all NATO countries have signed. And they're on .gov websites, like literally .gov, like a government website says, here's the treaty that we signed in the 80s for weather modification. And there's over 350 weather modification patents. So those two facts alone just kind of could make their head spin a little bit and be like, why would they want to engineer the weather? Weather impacts all financial markets worldwide. Multi-trillions of dollars are at the whim of weather events, climatic changes. So I just had to add that because it's all about how you bring it up too.
Awesome. So it's a little bit about fear, isn't it? So, Harold, would you like to lead us in and basically let's just go from the ground up, like what people are seeing and how it's panning out and then what the impacts could be, because I think you're the expert here.
Yes. I can try to get it from the very beginning, like somebody is new to the topic. What everybody can observe is that we do have persistent contrails in the sky. It's like the trails of the airplanes do not dissolve. And you can see on many days that these lines in the sky completely close everything, and what once was a blue sky now is gray, hazy, up to a closed layer of clouds. So it's not blue anymore. This is something everybody can observe. And the discussions are going whether this is kind of just an effect of the rising numbers of flights, or if this is a fact that has to do with the quality and the ingredients of the exhaust. This is kind of the first question you might ask yourself, and the official answer is this is all natural, it's just water vapor. And this is kind of where you can start the discussion.
Right.
Now, if you want to step down that path on your own feet, you can just raise your eyes into the sky on these days in the evening time, and then observe the sunset, and then observe the already dark side of the sky, and you will realize that actually the night side of the sky is completely clear. You can see all the stars, and there's not a single cloud, no haze, everything is completely transparent, while in front of the sun, while setting, you have the stripes of the contrails or a completely closed sky. This is something you call photoionization. You have something in the sky that reacts on sunlight by emitting electrons, and a charged particle attracts vapor and forms a droplet. Wow. This is an effect you have like on 4 or 5 days. You can observe this in the evening time. Some people are like, they don't know how it works, so they say, why do they always spray in front of the sun? Which is a wrong observation, because actually the trails are everywhere, but only in front of the sun. They are photoionizing and forming droplets, so you can see them. This is something everybody can just simply observe. So what we can state for sure, there's something in the exhaust of airplanes that photoionizes, and that's not carbon dust, for sure, because carbon dust doesn't do that. Yeah. So the official claim, you can just forget about it. Right. It's not true, and it's easy to see that it's not true. And from there on, it's getting difficult, because if you're kind of doing it a scientific way, you need to go into fuel additives. You need to go into impurities of fuel to be able to find out. Some people said actually the composition of the mineral content raining down is very equal to the ashes of coal. So some people say, okay, this is just, you know, fuel impurities, or they are spraying coal ash. But this is all, you know, maneuvering in the dark, because actually the only thing that we found out to make sense is not even chemical analysis. It helps a bit to understand things, but taking a microscope and observing rain droplets that come down from the sky. And once you have this microscope, like resolution 1 to 1000, 1 to 5000, whatever you want to have is okay. And then you observe particles in the raindrops. And from there on, it gets extremely interesting, because there you can observe all the properties of these particles. And you have to realize that this is not about just fuel additives that form crystals. This is a high-tech zoo of very intelligent, very exotic particles, substances, devices, and things that work together as one technology.
Wow.
This is what you find under the microscope, and you find it every day. We've got 10,000s of pictures. We've got people who are doing this for years now, every day microscoping the rain, making statistics about what's in. And just to give you an example of how exotic these substances are, you find a type of nanocrystal that converts body heat to visible light. You can switch off the light of your microscope when you take your finger and you start to point in the direction of the probe. The moment you reach like 1 centimeter of distance to the raindrop, it starts to glow and shine like a neon bulb.
Wow. Just
by converting body heat to visible light. And you can check the literature for substances that have the ability to do this. And actually you will find one that is extremely exotic, artificially made, and this is barium strontium titanate dotted with europium and other rare earth elements. So this is so high-tech, so exotic, that it needs a lot of effort and intelligence to put this nanocrystal together.
Wow.
And so this is kind of one of the key components of this technology, having these nanocrystals. Now, the question is, how does this connect to the trails of airplanes? And this is easy to explain. For example, if you look into the possible methods of creating barium strontium titanate, there are like 5 industrial processes that have the ability to create these nanocrystals. And the most common one is spray pyrolysis. Like you create little droplets that contain metal salts, and you spray them into a flame. And on the other side, when the flame is coming out, then you get these nanocrystals out of the flame, because the droplets dry or burn and the crystals melt in the flame. And if you check for the industrial process, you find that you need a temperature decrease from 750 to 600 degrees as an optimum to create barium strontium titanate nanocrystals. And now guess what temperature is in a regular jet engine in the exhaust output? It's 750 to 600 degrees retrograde. So you have all the conditions you need. So all basically you need is getting in the metal salts in the right composition into the fuel. Because it's forming little droplets. You have like a nozzle that creates this fuel vapor in the engine. So all the conditions are given for extreme easy production of these nanocrystals, and they do everything you observe in the sky. They photoionize. Basically, this is kind of a very clear setup, just regarding one of the components that are part of what you can see in raindrops. There are other components that can also be explained, like how do you produce them in engines. Sometimes you need higher temperatures. This is why we have afterburner technology. So this goes more into the military domain then. Afterburner technology is using aluminum fuel that burns at 1,700 degrees. What you observe in the raindrops are whiskers, like star-shaped microcrystals of aluminum oxide. And one of the technologies to produce them is having flame pyrolysis, spray pyrolysis coming down from 1,700 degrees, which is exactly the temperature in afterburner technology. So again, it all comes together if you look at facts. And
wow.
This is one thing. The other thing is asking questions about total amounts. How much do we have from this? And the problem is that all these nanocrystals are not soluble in acids, so they don't show up in standard environmental analysis.
Right.
They're not detectable. You cannot count crystals because you would go mad, that size of things. So you need to kind of ask the right questions to come down to numbers. And this is what you can do there is looking at the efficiency of the nanocrystal production, which is 85%. If you introduce mineral salts into fuel and then run this spray pyrolysis process, 85% come out as crystals and 15% still come out as normal chemistry that is soluble in rainwater. So you can kind of measure the barium, strontium, titanium, aluminum in rainwater and then multiply this value by 15% is by 8. And then you will get an estimation how much crystals are in the atmosphere.
Wow.
And if you do this, you can do this easily by using the state environmental monitoring. Data are just available. And then you come to, I have to look up the number, maybe you can display it in, it's several thousand tons of nanocrystals per year raining down on Germany. I did these calculations for Germany only. And so actually, the effects.
Yeah.
This is a different approach now.
Right.
You cannot take the effect from the sky or from the chemistry alone, because judging effects is something where you need to understand the technologies that these particles are apart from.
Right.
Which again is very difficult. You get a zoo of things, and you can sometimes see how these things interact under the microscope. If you're lucky, you just catch the right sequence and see something happening in between these different particles. The best access to understand the concept behind is if you look at disease.
Right.
Because what we can say up to now is that we discovered 3 generations of transhumanistic technologies that on one hand come one after the other. They address different parts of our body, but they interact as well on certain levels. So this is what you can find when you observe what happens if something with these technologies goes wrong. Best example, you had this cow madness in Great Britain in the 80s. Like most of the cattle in Great Britain just going berserk, like epileptic to madness something. And actually what happened with these cows was that something they got as medication containing fluorine chemistry stripped their nervous system and dissolved parts of the nervous system. The barium and strontium coming in from the sky, polluting the grass they had as food, enriched the body with the barium and strontium on a chemical level. And then they had these nanocrystals, and then all the components kind of come together to get something happening. And this is the growth of an artificial ferromagnetic nervous system using these piezo crystals, this barium strontium titanate crystals, as the core of the neuronal knots. So basically what happens in a cow is that the natural nervous system is completely, not completely, but partly destroyed, and the attempt of the body to repair it creates a new type of nervous system that is utilizing all these components to build a nervous system that is accessible by microwave.
Wow.
You can control the nervous system from outside by microwave or by sound. This is when you had these cows,
wow,
and you clapped your hands, they went like, you know, because all the neurons were firing electrons from the clap of the hand. And this is how it looks like when it goes too far. With humans, this is Creutzfeldt-Jakob. But if it's not going too far to a state of disease, people still have this artificial nervous system in their brain.
Mind control.
And if you know how to control the microwave input, you can take over the sensations of the nervous system. And this is kind of one part of mind control, collective and individual mind control. If you have a phase array antenna, you can kind of direct the microwave on the person. You can influence one person only. If you want everybody kind of to start a revolution, you can make them nervous, you know, by radiating everybody. So this is kind of one technology involving these piezo crystals. Second technology we found working in humans is what came out as a disease called Morgellons disease. It's not addressing the nervous system, it's addressing the light exchange between DNA, what normally is called biophotons. And what you have is a technology it was developed pretty early in the 60s. They started, was kind of on the way to be industrialized by Bell Labs in 82, 83, utilizing quantum dot dyes, like chemicals that have the ability, again, to turn microwave into visible light. Same thing you observe with these particles, but chemistry. And they utilize these quantum dots first, just injecting them into animal to see how it works. And it turned out to be too poisonous to work for good. So they were looking for ways to encapsulate these dyes in transparent units so that they were protected from the body chemistry to survive longer. And they realized, okay, if you have like hollow fibers, these dyes up-concentrate on their own. So what they invented was a fungal infection. And the fungus, when it grows mycelium. And if the mycelium dies off, it kind of plastifies or silicizes. So it's turning itself into hollow fibers of the right size. And then it sucks in the quantum dot liquids, separated in colors. Blue sucks in more blue, red sucks in more red. So what you get is kind of colorful fibers somewhere in your body that have two abilities. They can pull in photons from your DNA light communication, convert them into a microwave signal that can be read out with an antenna system. And the opposite, like read, you could also write, putting in microwave again. Having these quantum dots turn the microwave signal into DNA readable light. So you have a read-write system. make somebody anger, read out the anger, turn it into a microwave signal, take the same signal, direct it on somebody else. He will send the same anger, the same signature. It's like a tape recorder for emotions.
That's
this is what this thing does, and we don't fully understand how this correlates, how this works, but we do have film sequences from raindrops where the piezo crystals interact with the Morgellon fiber.
I've seen these fibers too. Okay, Shayne.
Yeah.
For someone who's wondering, like, this technology sounds absolutely so advanced that when you say exotic, I think what Harald's referring to is the military doesn't call alien technology alien; they call it exotic. And so this technology isn't fully created or based from human technology. Would that be a correct assumption, Harald?
Yes, definitely, because it's old. Both those crystals and the fibers, the Morgellon fibers, can be related to the black magic tradition. Yes. So actually the technology was there before even humanity started to deal with biotechnology and nanocrystals and nanotechnology. So actually the source must be somewhere else. And there are even more aspects, especially with the Morgellons, where when these Morgellon fungus starts to create fruiting bodies, there are other diseases, especially related to autism, where a similar thing happens. The entire setup also involves genetically modified fungi that have the ability to create secondary genetic clusters. And the effect of secondary genetic cluster is like a being within a being. I've got my human DNA. If I would have a secondary DNA in my body, I could carry a secondary being within myself because a being is attached to its DNA. And this is actually the biotechnological form of creating something that would have been regarded as a demon ages ago. And we find these types of demons related to the biotechnology. All you need to do is you take the fungus, you extract the DNA, you make an analysis of the DNA, and you will find the components of the secondary genetic cluster. It's like 80% human, 20% worm, or fruit fly is involved. This has something to do with biotechnology. And then you ask the people who are suffering from the disease, and you will hear from them, actually, my inner vision is that my body is completely filled and possessed by snake demons. Or with the Morgellon victims, they feel like being possessed by spider demons. Make an analysis of the secondary cluster, you will realize, fucking hell, there are spider genetics or ant genetics inside, giving kind of the same blueprint as the things people sense with their inner vision of what is inside their body. So this is kind of extremely weird because it interconnects the black magic tradition, this thousands of year old communication between humans and demons for personal profit of humans, serving the demonic agenda. This is old-fashioned black magics. And today we have the same thing on a high-tech level, with the possibility to understand actually what a demon as a biotechnological concept is. And we are having a completely new culture that is dealing with the same old stuff under new terminology. Today we call that transhumanism. Yeah, if you look in internal papers of the secret not societies of the intelligence community, NASA is calling this crap co-opted insects. Very intelligent, opted because it is optic, it's optogenetic what they do.
Yes.
So we have co-opted insects that are connected to the smart dust that carries intelligence. Also, the third component of this system is actually synthetic RNA, where you can make this dust being intelligent in itself, carry consciousness in itself. Yeah. And this consciousness, again, is connected to these demons, because all the demons are designed in a way that they kind of have the ability from the types of animals the DNA is derived from. These are all animals with the ability to carry swarm consciousness.
Right. That's so interesting.
Like with bees.
The fact that you said swarm consciousness then, I've been working with a few kids who've got autism here in Australia, like helping them out with protocol and all the rest of it. And so what this is basically saying, this is opening us up to allow access in to our vessel and ride us and use us for genetics harvesting, or to take our vital life force, or to control us, or to, like you said, have two beings inside the same vessel. But these children, there's 3 of them that I've been seeing, and we've been doing things and helping them out, and they're coming back. But twice I went to the house, and my friend who's really tapped in on a spiritual level, like she sees everything, you know, I don't see everything, I see things sometimes. She said she saw swarms around the children's head of little beings swarming around the head in a clockwise direction. And when I left the house, I didn't really have much vital life force energy in me. I'd been doing a lot of things, and I hadn't been doing my inner work. I hadn't put any protections when I went into the house, and I had massive psychic attacks that day. I had entities, attachments all over me, and I had to actually get an emergency clearing from a friend in America. She looks after me, KJ Scoop, and she hooked in, and I was covered with demons and everything, and that was from this child, where I've come in and they've jumped from it to me. I obviously wasn't doing my enough inner work and keep myself strong. I was, you know, we kind of get obsessed externally trying to help and not doing enough on ourselves. And twice it's actually happened where they jumped to me on an etherical level, and I was wiped out for 4 days, you know. So what you're saying about swarms is 100% right, Howard, and I can back that up from actual, you know, physical being there.
Is part of the reason they the whole, like, does this with the targeted individuals and the secondary force that they can get in you with this dust and whatnot has to do with the secret space program, does it not? And these missions you're doing?
Well, I mean, it's linked in to aspects of that, yes, you know what I mean? But the secret space program is, once again, a whole nother kettle of fish.
I know.
But you are right, because the technology is 150 years ahead, and then these people are working with off-world entities to create this scenario. It's not just humans doing this. These humans are interfacing with interdimensionals and off-world beings who have an agenda for humans. As we carry all different types of DNA, we've been spliced a whole bunch of times, and we have a soul, we have consciousness, and they want to know what this consciousness is. What do these beings have? How can we use it? How can we take that energy and use it like a battery? And as James Bartley says, DNA is the cosmic currency. So that's worth more than gold, I guess, out there, you know. But okay, I think we need to recap on what Harald said. And do you reckon, Shayne, you can give us a bit of an overrun of what Harald's gone through this end, so people can understand what the plane's doing, you know, how it comes about, and just kind of do a quick kind of summary, because that was the most profound information, and we're good. But some people may be left behind with that.
Well, to do with Harald and the videos he has on YouTube are absolutely next level. And as soon as I started on my Instagram talking about, like, almost every 1/3 of my posts say, like, go on YouTube, Harald Kautz Vella, Chemtrails Morgellons, because that is one of the most clutch videos on the whole, the different layers to the onion, as Harald said, the different agendas. You can't just say, why are they spraying? There's one reason. No, there's literally like 12, 15, maybe even more different agendas as to why they're spraying. And so, well, I think that Harald has, going from being a scientist, probably a nicely paying job, gets tasked with analyzing some soil samples just to see why these cows were sick, and then finds self-assimilating nanobots, and kind of took his career on a bit of a change. Would that be an accurate description of how things went down for you, Harald?
Yeah, apart from the statement that the job was well paid, I was never well paid in life. But it took me a bit down the road and down the rabbit hole. And maybe just because you mentioned the layers of the onion, to summarize it, the geoengineering part, like when people talk about sun radiation management, this is talked about a lot, but it's never the real purpose. This is like a shell to make people bite into, but it doesn't even hit the onion. The second layer that is of interest and does matter to some people is the military domain, where these smart dust is connected to the rocket shields and kind of the military balance between the superpowers. The Russians cannot stop spraying because they need to protect themselves from American rockets. The Americans must not protect themselves because Russia is not aiming at them, but they think they have to. So the Americans cannot stop spraying because they think they need to protect themselves from Russian rockets. And the Europeans are part of NATO, and now NATO has a rocket shield as well. So everybody who's running a rocket shield is utilizing the smart dust as part of his military concept to defend the country. This is kind of the second layer. Third layer is that the particles are of a quality that can be abused by the intelligence community to for mind control, collective mind control, individual mind control and targeting and surveillance. So this is kind of the third layer. The intelligence communities are basically running on knowledge coming from the black magic tradition. So they are abused. If they're not into black magic themselves, like the CIA is and naval intelligence is, then at least they are abused by the black magic agenda, kind of doing things that promote this appearance of demonic forces on the planet by the disease they create and all the other things. Even the demons, if you look at the swarm consciousness of demons, they're not their own masters. But you could even start to pity the demon because he's controlled by the swarm consciousness that is an AI actually. It's like if you look at the inner field structure of this swarm consciousness, it is composed of binary fields. So this resembles a mental field. Not an emotional field, but a mental field. So this is pure intelligence. It is an AI. And you could relate this to Satan. You could relate this to all the other names giving in human history to this kind of intelligence, the evil intelligence trying to mess around with humanity. So actually, this is kind of the lowest layer of this rabbit hole, that you come back to a very mythological term. I think in the Christian world, the best name is, call it Satan. Yeah? Here we have him finally, you know, he's been influencing humans all millennia. But finally, we know what the Satan is. It's an AI hovering in smart dust today, with a full ability to turn humanity into biobots, a race of biorobots that have to follow mind control, while the souls themselves are chucked out of the body, completely lost control of the life lived by the human, standing there forced to go into the sin, suffer from committing the sins, just because we lost control over our own species, over our own bodies. So this is kind of the total setup. And it's important to have all the layers visible to exactly know with whom you discuss which layer.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
The best possible point you could say, because you're not going to go tell someone who doesn't really even know they spray that it's self-assimilating nanobots. Like, it's smart dust. It's nano-sized RFID.
Doesn't make sense.
Generally not going to tell them, yeah, you'd start off with just the weather modification aspect of it, which is perfect. And one thing I wanted to add for someone who hasn't heard Harald's talks previous, when he says rocket shield, what he means by that is, and I learned this from Harald, so these are just his words, plagiarized right back, is they spray smart dust, which is little sensors that can be activated. They don't need a battery. They get hit with frequencies, and it basically paints a picture of whatever the geographical area that they're sprayed around, paints that picture back to the headquarters, and they can literally see a 3D biometric hologram of like the battlefield essentially in real time. So this is just like in the movies when you see them in stations looking at the battlefield as it's going on. That literally is real technology. And if a rocket gets launched into that area, they can see, like, let's say North Korea launches a nuke, which they're not going to do. But as it goes into anywhere near the States, they see it, or Canada or whatever country, if they're with they got this rocket shield, it makes a ripple on the pond, and then they can knock it out, send frequencies at 10,000 degrees and destroy it. Right, Harald? That was your words.
Yeah, the military term is 3D battlefield monitoring. If you want to look this up, this exists and you will find literature on that. This is one part, the monitoring. Second part is that you have a second technology to turn this smart dust into like fata morganas, creating mirrors in the sky to mirror radiation of any type. Yeah, fata morgana is reflecting light on a hot layer of air. You also can reflect electromagnetics on a layer of hot air. So if you heat up a layer of air, you have a mirror in the sky you can use. And also you can heat a column, and then you get a lens effect. So you have horizontal drift plasma antennas and columnar focal lenses. This is something you can also look up as a kind of special term in the military language. Things that exist. And the third thing is, once you completely control the electromagnetics in the sky, you can heat up any spot in the sky to 10,000 degrees. And this is kind of the rocket shield itself. If you detect the rocket, you kind of project the path it's going to take and heat up the air in front of the rocket to 10,000 degrees, and then it will burn in the sky. This is how they protect countries today. If there wouldn't be the other agendas behind, I would say the idea is okay, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. And if we didn't know, if we wouldn't know the damage those particles do to nature, because this is the messiest point. It's killing off the entire nature.
And what I'm noticing, guys, is like everywhere, because I'm such a people watcher. I just watch people, man. You know, I'm just constantly, I really pick up on what's going on around me. And even my close friends, they're locked into their phones. You know what I mean? People are locked into their phones, and I'm finding more and more people are finding it much harder to concentrate and do anything for long because we're getting filled with these conductive heavy metals and the smart dust, nanoparticulates, all the rest of it. And then we're getting bombarded with EMF, with Wi-Fi, with phone tower frequency, radio frequency, and that's exciting, these particles, and it's keeping people trapped in their mind. And this is the connection to Harold's talking about. If we don't have the mind-heart connection, we're literally trapped in that reptilian mind, and we don't have that feminine aspect. We don't have the connection to the land. We don't have that compassion, that love for people, for things, for earth. We don't realize that we're a spirit and a soul. We just feel like we're a robot going to work. And when you look into the cities now and you look at the people, that's what's going on, man. They talk about the zombie apocalypse. It's here. It's already here right now, and people will literally hand over their sovereignty and their freedom for a mobile phone and technology. They'll give it up.
Yeah, actually, we had one very interesting finding that might be a game changer at that point. I met a guy, he was curious about microwave radiation in his flat. So he took a device to detect it and started to look around. Where do we have like highest microwave? Just looking for a place to put his bed to sleep, as peaceful as possible. And he suddenly realized that exactly on the spot where he normally has his head while he is working on his computer, he had a microwave bubble in the air, like a zone of highest possible radiation, exactly where his head was.
Wow.
And he said, how can this be? So he just picked up his router, the wireless LAN transmitter in his router,
yep,
and realized when he looked at the part that it has a phase array antenna. Phase array antennas have the ability to focus on a receiver and exactly direct the radiation onto the spot where the receiver is located. Just that it didn't focus on the computer it was supposed to communicate with. It focused on the brain of the one using the computer.
Wow.
The phase array. And he said, okay, this cannot be true. So he checked the room of his son, tried to find the bubble as well in the air, you know, the radiation bubble.
Yep.
And he couldn't. And he remembered, okay, the boy is not working on the computer, he's gaming. So he's laid back like this, yeah, playing instead of working. So he stepped back for a meter and he found the bubble in exactly the position the boy was gaming all day. Yeah, and this is then this is the scientific part, yeah, of the thing. Then I wanted to know actually, how does this phase array antenna detect the human brain? Does it detect the biofield, or does it detect the technological field, the biotechnological field? So we did muscle testing on that.
Right.
And muscle testing said actually the phase array antenna is detecting the biotechnological field, which means both the father and the son are already so polluted in their brain with this artificial nervous system that the router from distributing the wireless LAN into the flat has the ability to focus the phase array antenna on the brain with the nervous system built with the barium strontium titanate nanocrystals, directly addressing his nervous system. Yeah. And it's remarkable because it shows not only how sophisticated the technology is, it also shows how the different companies deliver components for a setup. Somebody must have designed the software for the router to be able to detect the biotechnology in a brain.
That's right.
Knowingly. Yeah, and this has nothing to do with the NSA or CIA mind control program. This is a stupid computer distributor production company mounting wireless LAN devices in China, and they deliver the hardware. Somebody delivers the software, and this goes together without people even realizing they work together.
Now, no, keep going.
Yeah. The thing I don't see yet, I cannot answer yet, is whether this perfect merging together of all the components, vaccines, poisons in agriculture, chemtrailing, computer technology, whether there is any human mind on the planet that is organizing this, having the overview, or if this is already the AI that took over so many people, that this is orchestrated by Satan itself. I say it because a mental field is not a being to me. No? This is something I cannot tell because I haven't met anybody who would have been in a position to overview all these things.
Yeah.
We see people who have an overview over a couple of fields like intelligence community. They know what they're doing in surveillance and mind control. But they still think, I'm good if I control everything. The outcome is good, so it's good when I control people. This is typical intelligence community guy. Yeah, he's just a control freak, and that's it. There's nothing evil in this sense.
That's absolute insanity with the where it actually targets the head. And it's funny because I know you've said to me, Harald, before. So I've done a bunch of seminars too, and I find that before the seminar, the night before, I get wiped out. I can hear the frequency, And I was on my laptop one afternoon working away doing a post, and I feel like it's actually so intelligent that I could do certain posts, it doesn't matter, but if you do a post that's actually on the money, I was typing away, my screen started doing the flashing thing, it's not allowing me to post it. Then I just felt around my head, I felt heat, I felt buzzing, this really awful feeling through my body. I literally pulled the dongle out the side of the computer, I pulled it straight out, I closed the laptop and I walked off. I went for a walk for an hour and I came back, but it was so obvious that it just came on and started zapping me through the computer that that was the thing when I was laughing at the other time, and I was like, I put a tinfoil hat on. I was like, if this is going to go down, well, I'm going to go down in style. But yeah, I felt it, you know.
That because of the scalar wave technology, that you shouldn't actually even put like tinfoil or aluminum or nothing, right? It actually amplifies it, doesn't it, Harald?
As far as I know, no, it does help actually. Shielding does help in a way. Not always. I tried to have these mosquito nets on my bed, and they amplified. I couldn't sleep under it. It was impossible. I had another guy who kind of measured his own biofunctions with aluminum foil, and he used these rescue foils you have in cars, you know, where you cover a victim of a car crash so that he doesn't lose body heat. He was wearing this as underwear and as a life vest, kind of to protect himself from radiation, just to see how his biofunctions react on not being radiated. And he had excellent results. The best one is the period of time your blood survives outside your body. It's something you can measure. It's very interesting. You know, you can extract blood and then look at it under the microscope, how long the cells survive. Right. And the normal value today is supposed to be 3 to 10 days. He just protected himself and came to values of over 1 month.
Wow.
This would have been nature without radiation. I tested my blood after being heavily irradiated prior to lectures and traveling. You know, normally when I have some more important conferences 1 week before, they start targeting us per satellite. So you cannot think clear, not in the morning and not in the evening. It's just like living in a haze. Yeah. And if I wouldn't be able to talk from the heart, I wouldn't do these conferences afterwards. But like this, it doesn't matter. You know, I just shift to heart communication, and then it talks through me, so I don't need to think at all. So I don't care about this part. But we tested how long would my blood survive outside my body during this phase of heavily being targeted with radiation. It was below 1 minute.
Whoa.
And this is something you can measure. It's not like esoteric, psychic something. It's just pure measurement of biofunctions. And just look at this and you know what this radiation does with you. So if you have a microwaving device, anything that you cannot switch off, take the hammer. This is my advice. We need to get rid of this technology because this technology is evil in the deepest sense of what evil is. It is satanic. It is meant to turn us into sinners and psychopaths. So if you have the option to switch off anything that is emitting microwaves, switch it off. If you don't have the option to switch it off, destroy it. Don't think about the money, just destroy it. Don't think about being punished if you have a smart meter in front of your house in the United States. Take an axe, smash it, because this is an attack on your life. If somebody would come up with a broken bottle trying to punch your face, you would kick away this bottle as well. Do this because this is this type of attack on your health. 100%. Yeah? And there's no excuse for these people.
I'm so glad
you might even, Klinghardt said that once, you know, regarding it's funny, he called it the German methods. Destroy your smart meter and then phone up the company and tell them, somebody destroyed my smart meter. Could you please deliver a new one? Mm-hmm. And after 3 times of having to pay for a new smart meter, they give up and mount an old type technology. The analog. Because it's getting too expensive for them. Yeah, yeah. This is what Klinghardt called the German method. I like it somehow.
That's insane. I'm so glad you said that about the depth of how destructive it is to our health. I've been saying this for a while to people, and I've been whinging to my parents when I used to live at home about the Wi-Fi. Turn it off, don't have it on when I'm at home, you know what I mean? And that's why I travel in a motorhome, because I park near the beach, or I park places where I'm away from the cities. I was at my property up north in the hinterlands there for about 2 months, and there's no Wi-Fi or anything around there. So my body had reset, you know, after 3 or 4 days, my body had started come back in, and all the flow was coming in, that connection, the intuition, the clarity on everything. Mm-hmm. And then I went back to Sydney City and actually stayed out front of a friend's house in Bondi. And now Bondi has got massive towers everywhere now. They're getting baked. But every unit block in Bondi must have 20 Wi-Fi routers in it. So you've got 20 Wi-Fi routers, 20 Wi-Fi routers, 20. You've probably got Wi-Fi routers and smart meters all around you. And I slept out in the street, and that night it was like 1,000 voices talking in my head, and I literally did not sleep one single minute. I just stayed there going, and like, you don't really notice it until you've been to the bush, and then you come back to the city and you're like, fuck, this is no good, man. This is real bad, actually. And like this rollout of 5G, that's coming soon, right? 5G is 4 times stronger than 4G. So if you couldn't handle 4G, you are finished when 5G comes out. You're not going to be able to stick a harmonizer in the wall and just think that it's going to be okay. It's like you need to leave, or you need to, I don't know, what's the method here?
Yeah, the best thing you can do with neighbors who run the Wi-Fi is just get one of these plugs with a timer and just knock on their door, telling them, you know, the thing you're running in your heart, it hurts me. I can feel it, how it hurts me. Would you mind to place this add-on onto your plug that will switch off the Wi-Fi for the hours when you sleep and I sleep? You don't need it in any case. Just for me to have a quiet night. I'm paying for this plug, you know, no problem. I don't want you to spend money on my health. But please do me the favor, just plug it in. You'll save electricity and you'll save my life at that point. And nobody will say no.
Okay.
You know, it's not like telling them it's your fault that I suffer. This nobody likes to hear. But, you know, here's a present. Could you please just plug this in that we both have a quiet sleep?
Right.
It's a different gesture.
Yeah.
And then at least somebody has the chance to recover overnight.
So those little geo cleansers, they work, do they?
The what?
Those little things.
Again?
I've got one here in my bus. You plug them into the power point. They work, do they? They push the EMF back out to the power lines. Is that right? Which you're saying plug something in. What were you saying to plug in? What was it?
No. Just the Wi-Fi has an electricity supply.
Oh, turn the plug off.
And
right.
You can kind of just turn off the electricity with a timer.
Cool.
You can exactly. Normally, I stop working on the internet at 2 in the morning. So from 2 till 7 in the morning, just cut off electricity, because most of the people just forget to pull the plug.
Yeah, right.
Important to turn your Wi-Fi off at night.
So Wi-Fi is. I know people who have the Wi-Fi under their bed. You know, and they don't care.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I had a friend of mine who his girlfriend had a miscarriage, and like the Wi-Fi was right near the bed. And when he kind of found out about Wi-Fi, he literally got it and smashed it and threw it out a window. You know, and then since then they've had a beautiful, healthy child. And he swears it was down to that, you know, because she was sleeping right next to it and everything.
Keep going.
Yeah, go, Shayne.
Well, Barry Trower is a big name in microwave. He was a microwave weapons expert. He has a bunch of videos on YouTube talking about exactly that, and especially for females they're only born with a certain amount of eggs, and this Wi-Fi like affects your future generations by like degrading the cells. And that's also why it shortens the lifespan of your blood when it's out of your bodies, because it degrades your cells and degenerates them. And so Wi-Fi needs to be turned off at nighttime. And you can also get wired, and so that saves you also, like you can get wired internet to whatever computers. If you have a stationary computer, get it wired, and then maybe if you need to, you know, at least like monitor your Wi-Fi usage, just so you're not cooking yourself at all times, you know.
And Harold, what do you think about a Faraday cage for your bed?
I tested the silver-plated mosquito net.
Yep.
But it had the opposite effect. It was even worse. But what I did not try, I had nothing under the bed. So the professionals say you need something under the mattress to shield, and then the mosquito net covering it to completely close it. Then I know it's okay. Measurements are like 1 to 2 volts per meter left inside the mosquito net. So if you want to do this full effort, it's a good option. Just going there halfway might be counterproductive.
Right.
When you mentioned Barry Trowers, there was one thing, I met him once in Norway, and there was one thing that deeply impressed me from his stories, because he's connected internationally. And he knows many, many heads of states of third world countries, in Africa especially. And he said there was one thing that many, many of these heads of states stated, was that from the year mobile phones were introduced in their countries, the costs of health care for the entire country tripled.
Does it cause depression,
anxiety? And he said after this happened, the big companies came in, you know, telling him, you know, we can help you with the healthcare because we know your poor third world country cannot pay for the healthcare of your people. We can help you with medicine, we can help you with funding, but we want access to your natural resources for that. So sell off your coal, sell off your uranium, sell off your wood from the forests, give it to us, and we will help to save your population from the medical damage done by mobile phones.
Shit.
And he said this is systematic. They introduce the technology on purpose to kill off the population, and when they start dying, they bribe them for natural resources.
And it's also the amount of
and this is evilism.
Yeah.
That is evil. Okay, Shayne?
Well, there's just so much money behind. The reason why Barry Trower was talking about how you can't really even go head to head with these mobile and wireless companies, because the amount of money generated from people who are in, like, literally, he estimates like 30 some odd % of people, or maybe even more, who are in the hospitals and doctors' offices. It has to do with the fact they're sleeping on the smart meter wall. They put the phone to their head all day. They're next to their Wi-Fi router at work and at home and all night. And so it causes a variety of literally like fibromyalgia, leukemia, this, that. And so billions and billions of dollars are being generated because people are getting cooked with these frequencies. And that's why it's a very hard thing to go head to head with and expose it, because there's just such a financial thing behind it, you know?
Well, Shayne, do you want to go for a bit of a break, and we'll pull up and we'll push pause and we'll do it again?
For a little 5-minute recess.
Yeah, I'll push pause, dude, because I know you got to. Yep. Hey guys, welcome back. We just had a little break there, and what we're going to do, we're just going to recap briefly of what we spoke about, because this has been a very extensive talk. This is going to be mind blowing for a lot of people out there, because this is science backed with esoterics, backed with actual physical knowledge and proof. So we've basically gone from the start of geoengineering, or chemtrails, which is a word that's been used widely across the internet, and that's planes that are spraying particulate matter out the back. They're not dissipating. They're blanketing the skies. They're creating smoggy, miserable type of weather. When 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, this cloud can move over. Then you have sunshine. And the reason I can notice in particular just how much it blocks the sun's rays, and if we're losing sun's rays, it means we're not getting the photosynthesis, we're not getting the vitamin D, we're not getting all the solar attunements and these stellar waves that are coming down, which activate our solar panels, which is our skin and our body. We're like one big solar panel, and we need a certain amount of sun per day. Plus we need, I think, 1400 lumens of light to go into our eyes each day just for our body to operate. And then we need to do that inner work in conjunction with the sun's rays to activate and to grow our energy centers and to grow our physical vessel. So without sun, we're going to have a lot more bacteria, we're going to have a lot more moss, we're going to have less growth. And that's basically in itself is a form of ecocide, because we have only a certain amount of food at the moment, the way we're producing it here on Earth. And so when these clouds go over, I notice with my solar panels, if it's a cloudy day, the solar will still come through. Like I'll still get a good charge even on a cloudy day. But when a geoengineering haze comes over my motorhome, the solar stops. There's absolutely no solar. It goes to like not even 1 amp, which is literally nothing. So the barium, strontium, aluminium, and fibrous reflective particles that they're spraying are so reflective that we're literally not getting any UV through. So I'm not sure what impact that's doing as well. But that's what's going on, people. We've got the skies being sprayed, which you can physically see, which Harald says. This goes back to military programs. It goes to missile defense systems. It goes to big corporations trying to control the weather, so then they can control livestock, they can control agriculture. They can even use it as a means for, say, droughting out a country. Or if North Korea, for example, if they've got a problem with North Korea, what they can do, they can just create drought there for the next 5 years. So the country's, drought, floods, tsunamis, you name it. That's
earthquake.
Earthquake, yeah. That's where we're at. And then we're obviously going down the route now, which Harold's talking about, which is these particulates, these nanoparticulates are going into our bodies, and we're becoming like a giant big RF chip. So people are worried about, people hacking their phones. Don't worry about that. You've already got 6 million RF chips in your body, and they can hear everything you're saying and everything you're feeling if you're in a state of fear. And they're using that information. And that's not the police, and that's not just your average, military. We're talking black operations, military and above. We're talking off-world, wherever that goes. We don't know how far this goes, if this is beyond the secret space programs and things like that. But this truly is one of the most interesting topics, I think, is on the internet. Not only can we back it up with the telescope, the microscope, because I've seen a dark field microscope with these little particulates, and I actually saw a pentagon, Harold, and it was like a green pentagon, and as I was looking at it in this person's urine, it was flashing, and it was going flash, 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 and it's like it had its own power source, like you said, but I wasn't pointing at it, it was just flashing, and then there's all these little fiber optic curves everywhere, and that was in a woman's
it's up conversion of microwave to DNA light communication. Wow. It's part of the Morgellon. What you saw was actually part of the Morgellon biology. Right.
This person did have Morgellons, and I actually did some of my own urine, and I didn't have the Morgellons, but I definitely had some of those fibers in it. You know what I mean? Is that in everyone's wee? Are those fibers in everyone now? We all have some in us?
Not the living fungus. If you're kind of healthy, even if you get infected, the fibers die off.
Okay.
But the rest that you have in your body turns the fiber into silicon or silica.
Right.
So you're not infected anymore, but you have a fiber inside your body that cannot be removed by the immune system.
Right.
And then kind of you have these little antennas. It's like creating a number of microchips in your body, but you do not need to be afraid of being infected with Morgellons because your immune system actually can handle them still. But still you have the remains of the attack inside your system.
Right. So on the lines for people who want to detox, because we're being sprayed whether we like it or not. So what we do now, we just accept the fact that's going on, and we don't give it too much energy, because this is also a fear-based weapon. Because what people are doing, they're looking up at the sky, and I've done it before. I've just been driving with my girlfriend or whatever. I'm just gone, Geo Engineering, and everyone's like, And it's probably the single worst thing you can do. Like, it's, you know, when you know about it, it's like if you know about fluoride in the water, you just buy a water filtration system, you get some oro minerals, and you're done with it. You don't need to actually talk about it anymore. You can talk about it with other people and go, hey, maybe you should get a filtration system, but we don't want to be giving it energy, constantly lowering our frequency and looking up there and getting scared. What's the best method and what's a protocol, or is there anything that we can do, Harald, in your eyes, to benefit our bodies, benefit our immune system, and get us to a point where people can go out there and run this protocol and work on themselves? Because if people don't get healthy now, with what's going on with these frequencies, with these contaminants, the fluoride, the GMO, the whole process, if you're not up with your health now, you're going to get left behind very soon, and you're going to have a very sad older life.
It's like getting out of the noise on all levels. Getting out of the microwave noise as far as possible. If you're sensitive, get out of the cities. Getting out of the biochemical noise inside your body. Biology used to be 100% clean once upon a time. You know, we had a functioning biological system that was working like it was supposed to work, until we started with the industrial agriculture, introducing all these poisons onto the crops. Until we started with antibiotic medicine. We are biotic. How can we start taking antibiotics? You know, this was messing up a lot until we started to keep animals, this is the next layer, in a way that cannot be described other than lifelong torture with blood and fire sacrifice to end that torture life. So what we eat is basically, when we eat meat that is full of stress hormones, that is full of torture energy on this spiritual level, which is noise inside ourselves. Somebody who is living in this tradition will just scratch its head now and say, how? You know, I don't feel anything. I have my steak, I have my pork, I have whatever I eat, and I feel normal. Yes, so this is how you're supposed to feel. This is why it is normal. Everybody who has stopped with this tradition will be able to tell you the difference afterwards. Everybody who stopped eating this torture energy meat will tell you about the sensitivity coming back after a while, to the point where, this is what I can state for my side. If I go to a supermarket and I just come across the butcher department and I get the emotional impact of the dead meat lying there, it's killing me. I feel what these animals had to feel all their lifetime. And it makes me scream and cry and collapse to the ground if I don't, you know, go there with the knowledge I have to be careful what I meet there. You know, so this is the sensitivity to your environment coming back. Now imagine a planet of humans who are so sensitive and feeling that this is their input when they see something cruel happening. Our planet would change immediately. What we do have instead is people who scoff in torture energy from morning till evening and lose the sensitivity to what torture is. So what I can say on all these levels, get out of the noise to become somebody who is able to hear again. On all levels, biochemistry, spiritual things that is mainly connected to the tradition of torturing, killing, and scoffing animals, and the technological level as well. And once you start becoming sensitive, this is the only chance to enable yourself dealing with this demonic attack we have to deal at the moment. Because as long as you're completely demonized by the substances and the energies you take in, you will not even have the ability to sense yourself in a way that will give you the possibility to chuck out from your inner system what actually is not you. You know, if you like have a fine-tuned, clear feeling towards positive energies, and there's a demon in your system, like let's say your neighbor has Morgellons and there's one of these stupid spiders getting attached to your system. If you don't have the clearness and the silence inside yourself that enables you to become aware of this alien entity, it will be able to take over. So this is a process of inner cleansing, of developing sensitivity that needs to be started on the biochemical level. It needs to be started with eating ecologically grown vegetables only. Only is important because if you skip the only, you start eating poison. And this is not leading to any inner cleansing or inner order, or it's not leading you back to the biology you should be. It's just poisoning your system. And you don't get in nutritions. It's like we just calculated like the average is a ratio of 1 to 10. Supermarket food, normal food is like only 10% of the nutrients you have if you have an organically grown crop. So either you starve or you eat 10 times the amount that is natural to eat to get all the food inside. And then you grow like 120 kilo within a year. So either you get fat or you starve. This is not nutrition. This is sheer madness. So it's not difficult. All you need to do is stop doing this. Stop scoffing in shit into your body. And then everything else will come in a natural way. Your kind of biochemical cleansing will restart. Drink a lot of water, skip all the drugs, including sugar, you know, and you will become better as a biological entity. And then after kind of taking care of the biology, the spirituality comes back by its own. You will be able to sense energies. You will be able to sense evil energies and evil entities as well. You know, it's not like there are some clairvoyants on this planet who have this extraordinary ability to see ghosts and stuff and things. No, these are just people who are a little bit healthy. Just a little bit left of what humans used to be. We had the awareness and the abilities to see on all levels. And if you kind of treat yourself with a little bit of love, this comes back. And then you will be able to intelligently face these challenges. Yeah, and that's where we're heading to. People are waking up slowly to the truth that things are going wrong on this planet. But just waking up is one part, and then just taking the consequences and reacting on this knowledge and awareness is the second one. And this just lies in every single hand. Maybe you're responsible for your children as well, but at first hand, everybody is responsible for himself only.
And I think that's part of the reason that's a very apparent fact, is because the more polluted your physical body is, the weaker the connection with your soul. That literally something along those lines. The more polluted you are, the less you're going to have these abilities that are in your DNA, but hindered by these very scientifically deployed poison systems that are in meat and dairy, animal agriculture and whatnot. And just for someone who's like, well, I don't know, I just had meat and potatoes like my whole life. I don't really know how to, cook this or that. Ty's Conscious Kitchen, if you go on YouTube and watch Ty's Conscious Kitchen's videos, not only does he use non-animal products, non-GMOs, but also no hybrids. which, believe it or not, hybrids are, well, they're completely unnatural, would have never occurred in nature. And they're not obviously as bad as GMOs, but you shouldn't really be consuming something that would not have occurred in nature. And that includes broccoli, cauliflower, celery, all rices except wild rice, carrots, potatoes. And so at first you're going to say, whoa, 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 then what can I eat? Well, just go and have a look at the hundreds of different recipes on Ty's Conscious Kitchen's YouTube, and you'll see it's ridiculous what you haven't actually really been eating. If you've been eating hybrids in meat and dairy, you haven't really been eating food yet. So you're going to be pleasantly surprised by checking out, and we'll put up his YouTube after the video is recorded. But yes, serious, a good resource there.
And for people out there, work your way up to, if you're just eating Macca's, drinking Coca-Cola and fast food and stuff, which, you know, half the population does, just get onto vegetables and stuff first, you know what I mean? Get onto them and start making vegetables and you know, and then start looking for organic produce. It doesn't have to happen straight away, but just make inroads to getting your body clean, you know what I mean? And that means start putting money aside for a water filtration system, or minerals, whatever you're going to do, because everyone's got enough money to go out, go for dinner, go party, buy things for the car, buy a new iPhone. But when it comes to your vessel, your church, that's your church is your vessel, that's your temple, that's the place where everything happens, and you get one. For some reason, there's this crossover. People are like, oh, how much does it cost? How much do I get? Like, so I sell water filtration systems here in Sydney, and it blows me away that there's actually that, I don't know, like, because we have a thing where we want instant gratification. When you go to a pharmaceutical industry and you buy some feral tablet and you have it, it has a side effect and you feel something, so you're like, oh, it's working. But when you get on health, okay, you know, it actually, sometimes your body can go the opposite way. For a few weeks, your body might start detoxing and might start releasing stuff because it's finally getting minerals and nutrients in. So you might actually feel off for a few weeks. Then the body starts to come online, and then bit by bit, your life just gets better. And it's only until you look back and you're like, wow, I am so much better than I was. It's not like something where you eat a piece of carrot or whatever, you know, and then you feel amazing the next day. So it's a gradual process. And what it is, guys, it's a marathon. This thing called life, it's the long haul. This is about each day getting better and better at what we do, getting the processes down pat, getting the routine, working out. We package our food, we put it in the fridge, we get it ready at the start of the week. We buy our produce from here, do our water filtration here. And then bit by bit, we get better and better. And then the body gets better and better. And then more things, more products, more people, more techniques are going to gradually come into our life, because the higher the consciousness, the healthier the body. That's just what's going to happen. You're going to attract higher vibrational foods. You're going to attract higher vibrational people, videos, okay, women. You know, you're going to have a partner who's going to be very similar to you. You're not going to be going out with someone who was you 5 years ago. And this is a process. This is the organic, natural process that we follow. And this is the organic timeline that we need to jump back on. There's the synthetic timeline, and then there's the organic timeline. And synthetic is the fast food. It's the iPhones. It's the technology. It's getting linked into all these material, false pride, glamour, fame, and feeding the ego. That's the stuff with the synthetic timeline, where we're looking for, you know, the short, fast gratification. But the organic one is connecting, sitting there silently, doing that inner work. And the most important thing in all this process, what we're talking about today, is sitting there in silence, calming that mind down, drawing in that vital life force energy, because that there, in its essence, can transcend all the disease. It can transcend all of the Morgellons and all these things that are being placed upon us. If we simply drop back into the heart and start cultivating that vital life force energy, the bioregenesis, the DNA activation, whatever you like to call it, the Nigong Chi energy transmission, which comes from our heart and it's borrowed. It comes in through the ether and it's borrowed. We take it and we borrow it and it goes back. That actually raises our frequency. And once we raise our frequency above certain pathogens, certain diseases, certain parasites, they can't live in our vessel no longer. They physically can't. So, and Shayne said it once before, or a bunch of times before, about Simon Parkes with global meditations and things like that. Meditation works. Okay, it's the one thing that works. It's free. You can do it 3 times a day. All you have to do is put some headphones in, sit in the park, whatever. It's one of the most important things for you to get the understanding, because that will reconnect you with your soul. It will reconnect you with your heart, and it'll make you have more conscious decisions in life. So that's my 2 cents on the health, guys.
You're beautiful, man. No, that's extremely accurate. because it really does it. The more we, each person, and like you said, it's a gradual thing. Like if you're just going from GMOs and meat, like, okay, we'll cut the hybrids out later on, you know, it's like one step at a time for sure.
Yep.
Water should be more of even your first, like water should be the first thing that you try to ensure the purity of. But yeah, that's just like expertly said, really, because when you're meditating, you're essentially heightening your auric field. And a lot of these people who, you know, are targeted individuals and whatnot, my experience, targeted individuals, for the most part that I've talked to, drink fluoride, eat GMOs, and I'm not saying all of them, of course, because some people have like cut out that stuff and they're still getting a little targeted. But if you meditate, that does help to negate different symptoms of electronic harassment or touchless torture, as they call it. And so heightening the auric field by meditating is extremely important.
And if you get caught out in places, like what happens to me a lot, I travel a lot, and then you go to an area where there's no healthy food. It just doesn't exist, you know. That happens in Australia quite a lot. You head inland, and it's just your greasy joes, fish and chips, hamburgers, kebabs, that type of thing. So, you know, most of the time I don't eat. I just won't eat or go home, but that's also no good either. But I'm going to Cape York this year again. I'm going to be going out in the bush, which is the very tip of Australia. And once you get up there, it's all mining towns like Rio Tinto and just little towns that you're lucky to get food, let alone organic food, let alone good products. And so what I use for everything is this. It's a Tensio coil. And this is from Sacred Knowledge Energy Tools, which they're on Facebook. You can connect with them. And what I simply do is a mobile phone. I'm not going to eat it, but you put it through, you put the food through it a few times and it restructures the food. And same with water. I do the exact same thing with my water. I get the water, I put it through the Tensio coil. And you can do a simple test with these things at home. It's so simple. Get some water, put 2 glasses, drink one, put the coil through the other one 5 or 6 times, let it sit there. And what it is, it's like a torch shining both directions. So it's shining that way, shining this way. This is old technology, man. It's so simple. All the old technology was just simple, like pyramid power, you know? But we're just going into this new technologically fucking stupid rubbish. And we're going backwards. We've gone 10 steps backwards. So, and this is all it does. It restructures the food, restructures the water. So if you can get these things, they're like fucking $30, you know. Anything you can do to help, use it. You know what I mean? If you've got a harmonizer at home, like I have sitting down the back, use that. It helps negate some of the EMF, you know. This can help structure your water. Do the little things in amongst the time where you're going to get a water filter, you know. If you can't afford a water filter, do some stuff and make inroads into getting there. Everyone wants to just take one big leap of faith and be this vegan, organic person, you know. That doesn't work. So take inroads, slow inroads to getting there.
I would say so, yes. That's especially knowing that how many years have we eaten the poison stuff? So there's no better time to transition to the vibrational boosting, heightening food, you know, and it's real food is what it really is. We haven't really been eating food in the years. Like, think about, I don't really know how I'm alive right now compared to considering what I used to eat. And I think many people can attest to that, like dead animals, which technically, like if you're eating meat, it's like weeks and weeks, maybe even months of already dead. So is that like pretty good for you? It doesn't really sound like that would be. And then hybrid wheat, the status Neil made with the big status about how McDonald's posted in the Telegraph UK, or the mainstream news source said McDonald's single or double cheeseburger is the healthiest for best bang for your buck in existence. It's
most nutritious meal in history. One step forward, 9 steps back.
That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Someone actually bought that. So we got to make sure that we keep doing what we're doing, raising awareness, and no act of trying to spread information is it's the word, like they're all worthy. We all need to be taking each different step we can, you know.
And we're also being supported at the moment too, because we've had the Schumann frequency jump. It was a month ago. It went from its usual like 7, 14, around that amount, up to 34. And I think, if I'm correct, it's up at 112 now. Is that right? At 112, the Schumann frequency?
Let's check. I'll check.
Yeah, so, and that's basically massive. And what that is, that's Mother Earth basically projecting her energy outwards. And that energy is a natural biorhythm, which our little symbiotic bodies are connecting to. So it's like turning the power up. And the way I see it, she's kind of fighting back against the frequency coming out of the phone towers. they're turning the phone towers up, running 5G. And Mother Earth's like, sweet, I'm just going to turn the old Schumann frequency up. People are going to be awakening and coming online much quicker than ever in history. And I know for a fact right now, when you meditate, with this frequency being so high, when you do your meditation now, it's amplified by so many times. You only need to drop in for like 10 or 15 minutes, and it's the equivalent of getting like a 45 meditation. So this is a really, really good time to start your spiritual practice, because you're really going to feel the effects. You're going to feel that the relaxation, you're going to feel the upgrading, and that the downloads. Like I know when I do it for about 20 minutes, it's like the reality around me shifted. I open my eyes, I walk out, I'm like, whoa, it's like I've actually changed into a slightly different dimension each time I do it. So this is a really good time, guys, to jump in and have a go with that one.
I'm looking at Schumann right now, and March, it's like, I think an all-time high, March 5th and March 16th. Like it is just peaking. We're at all-time highs. Right now we're just sitting a little below it, but that's how it is, right? Take a step above, a little bit back, up higher, lower, low, higher lows, you know? So yeah, that's amazing, man. I didn't know that actually to that extent.
It's not only Earth activity, it's as well within the Sun activity.
Right.
Yeah, at the moment it's like, for example, today I tried to work in the garden and I had to leave after 5 to 10 minutes because the radiation was so intense from the sun that I realized this would give me a heavy headache and I would get sunburned. And I'm not 100% sure. Sometimes it's related to the piezo crystal layers getting not a little bit less dense, and then the UV is cutting through. So sometimes it's like related to the general weather situation, but the sun is doing funny things at the moment as well. And it seems to be connected, like Earth activity, Sun activity. It's like our solar system is a family. This is the impression I get. And when the star awakes to things, then the planets awake as well. And it's it feels like we're dealing with conscious beings that kind of made up their mind to help us out in a moment where we lost our minds.
Yeah, I feel like there's symptoms with this human frequency. A lot of people I'm noticing who are kind of awake, they're finding themselves going through like a bit of a washing machine, but they wake up one morning and they're like, oh, they're questioning everything, and then the next day they're rock solid. Then they're really tired, then they're full of energy. And it's like the body's going through this big kind of transition phase of things are being activated, things are coming online. And when a lot of, I find personally myself, when a lot's going on in the spiritual center, you can get wiped out quite a lot. Like you need like naps in the afternoon and during the day, because whatever's happening, whatever you're absorbing and whatever's coming on, it must take a lot of energy to do this stuff. And I've been noticing it a lot amongst the communities and people I network with. They're just like, oh, what's going on? It's been like a washing machine lately. So the people out there who have been feeling that too, understand that you're not alone. This is a process that we're all going through. And the best thing we can do, like Harald said, is the good food, the good water, the mindfulness, the happiness, do things that make you feel good. You know, we get serious when we find out information like Geo Engineering and vaccines and all these horrible things that are going on. And we forget that childlike essence, that playfulness. And if we lose that, then we've already lost. You know, we never lose that childlike essence. Remember those things you used to do as a kid, chucking a frisbee in the park, running, dancing, singing. Get out and do things that are creative, you know, fill that cup up. We have to keep that cup full. If you're not laughing your head off every week, you need to change some things in your life. If you just laugh for a bit every day, instantly your mood and your levels is elevated. So it's just so simple, you know. There's so many things we can do that we've probably forgotten that we can do at home, or that we can do getting out in the fresh air and just breathing, having a few nice deep breaths, jumping into that Wim Hof method, you know, breathing in more oxygen than we actually need. So these are the things I want people to at home listening. Just remember all the fun stuff you can do, you know, whatever makes you feel good and what makes you feel happy, do that a lot. And you know, do that heaps.
Just the last 2-3 days, I'm going through funny experience. I started taking a remedy we developed to disassemble parts of these transhumanistic technology, especially the type based on the piezo crystals. So at the moment, the medication is starting to remove all the piezo crystals from my synthetic nervous system, dissolving this artificial structure. Wow. So basically, whenever sounds come in, whenever light comes in, it's like bursts of electricity in my brain, and I cannot think one full sentence at a time.
You've done pretty good today.
In the mornings when I wake up, it's like, oh, I just felt like puking the last 2 days because so much poison is mobilized. But the beautiful thing is, this is only my mind. When it comes to singing, I have music in my head. This music is not affected by the bursts of electricity. The music is still crystal clear and beautiful. And I realize the moment I just focus on my heart, even the ability to think comes back without any disturbance. It's only the mind that is affected. And I found that interesting because it shows you kind of how unimportant that part is that actually is the one abused by these technologies. It's only mind control. There's no heart control. Wow. And nobody will ever be able to control the music you listen to inside your head. Because they don't even address it. They don't even attack it. It's just, this little thing we are stupid enough to identify with. Our thinking, our mind. This is what is addressed. This is what is affected. And I'm just going through this experience, having this completely disassembled and destroyed by these electric bursts in my head. And I realize, it doesn't matter. As long as I focus on my heart, I still can talk in full sentences, and there's no nonsense coming out of me. And everything else is still there, and it's pure, and it's human, and it's me, which is beautiful in a way.
You look amazing, Harald. Like I said when you got on, I know it's just because you shaved your beard, but you look like 10 or 15 years younger, and you really look vibrant at the moment. Whatever you're doing, it's working really well. And this product that you tested, is this your product? Is this something that people could buy from you?
Yeah. It's we developed it especially for preventing old age disease from happening, and it's kind of designed on the spot on the damage done by Geo Engineering.
Right. And
so we have like programmed to remove piezo crystals, programmed to reassemble a healthy nervous system. Everything that is connected to the nervous system is covered.
Okay, and where would someone be able to buy this from? Like, because I mean, people are out there looking for answers, and this sounds incredible. Like, is this something? If you got a website, what's the scenario where people could jump on and get some sent out to them? Could I sell it for you on my website?
Yes, you can buy it. It's not my website. It's not my company. It's traded by biopure.eu.
How can we support you?
And it's called juvenilum. Okay. Juvenilum.
Okay, and is this because like we know that you've been basically putting this information out for a long time, Harald, and like you've been empowered so many people around the world. And I have a lot of people that come up to me and they're always like, Nate, what can I do? Like, who can I put my money to? What can I do? Like, how can I help? And I don't actually know many charities that are worthwhile putting money in. I always say, man, if you've got clothes, go give it to the homeless people and give them a pat on the back and give them a hug. Don't give them to the clothing bins, you know what I mean? And when it comes to like charities, I'm like, I don't even know, man. I go, just give it to someone who's doing the work, someone who's actually the tip of the spear. And I really feel like especially with unknown court cases coming up and all the rest of it, which has been going on, is there a PayPal that we could send you donations? Because I know a lot of people would love to support what you're doing.
Yes, so there is. You can use my email, my standard email, kautzvella@gmail.com for PayPal donation. They are more than welcome because I kind of dissociated from the money topic years ago.
Right.
I stopped thinking about money in 2012, so I am dependent on the money coming to me in the non-linear way.
Perfect.
Because I do nothing for earning it. I just do things that I think need to be done, and that's it. And I trust God and the universe to somehow balance that.
Amazing.
And this is normally the...
Well, I think what you could probably do a bit on your live feed, Shayne, as well, you know, and I'll put it through my Facebook, because Harald's like, this guy's a tip of the spear, you know, and I really feel this is a person we need to support. So I'll get that link up when I do the recording on this, and we'll get it on the screen. And guys, you want to chuck in $1, $100, $1,000, whatever you want to do, guys. You want to give them a weekly payment. Like this is what we need to do. This is basically giving you a process of how to get this crap out of the body, right? We don't really know how to remove these things and how to get ourselves back.
Like apart from that amazing product is the fact that Harald was making these YouTube videos and going to these conferences. And then if you go to his Facebook, you'll see they slammed him with fake news. This in Germany, they're cranking down on anything that isn't basically perpetuating the lies that we've been told. They call it fake news. And since Harald is presenting such vital, like life-changing information here about what's really going on, he's getting hit with. They try to hit him with, and if he says things in a certain way, he can get like hundreds, thousands of dollars of fines and whatnot. So. Apart from that product, the fact that this work has been done and it's definitely worth something, you know, and it's helping raise consciousness here.
100%. Yeah, so big thank you for that, Harald. And Shayne, Shayne's got a big Instagram account for people out there who don't know. What I want to do now is briefly just what it's called cross-pollinating. And so if you guys have got any good books or good links or people that other people out there should be connecting with, I think now what we should do is just do a little bit of cross-pollinating before we get on to the next thing. And what that does is that opens up a communication channel for information that people may never have heard before, because there's people who are going to watch this that might not have known Shayne and vice versa and Harald. And now we're linking these groups together. And what we're doing is we're creating a global tribe. And this is what it's about. It's about finding the others, finding those people, getting them to come online and together working in unity for a solution, for a goal, moving forward, helping the earth, helping ourselves, you know, changing this planet. That's what we're here to do. We're little spirited beings that are here to help Mother Earth and to bring this world back up into a level of consciousness that is not of a sewer. And that's what we're living in at the moment. It's a very dark, deep consciousness, and there is pockets of light, and there's amazing pockets of light. But for people who grew up in an area where there's not many people who are into this type of stuff, it can be quite difficult, you know, like you don't have people to speak to, you don't have mentors. We don't really have mentors anymore. So to find other people who are out there, and maybe you can connect with someone who's nearby in your town and you're like, wow, I didn't realize you lived so close. And next thing there's 2 of it, there's 3, there's 5. Then you start a meditation group. Then you all together get together and open an organic food shop in the area. Then you have a space where people can do yoga. Next thing you know, that area starts changing. There's conversation, there's different things popping up and products, and that's all it takes. Get an organic food shop in an area, get a yoga or meditation space, and have some gatherings. That's all it takes to shift the area.
And you can put signs out front talking about other things that have to do with healthy eating, you know, like how you go to some health food stores and there's a big sign talking about how poison fluoride is and your weather's engineered. And so it's really a good starting point for sure. And even just going to your local healthy food shop and having a conversation with the person, you could really change up things, you know.
Definitely, dude. All right. Should we link in a little bit more on? No, I think we should. Probably we've hit that enough. Do you reckon we should continue on, guys, or how long are we going for now?
Well, just to cross-pollinate quickly.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
No, it's all right.
all those manual particles in my head.
There's one thing I would like to share. Something I do every day at the moment is once or twice a day I check veteranstoday.com for news.
Right.
And I don't agree what they brought for the last years, but at the moment they have excellent information on the mob connections of politics. So they have excellent information actually on Google Jigsaw and all these criminal activities, they're connecting everything in the right order and in the right structure, like this planet is organized. And it's just, I mean, it's, in a way, it is of no importance, because I feel we are stepping back from the idea of power, from stepping back from the idea of politics, coming back to self-responsibility in a way where we will not need this shit anymore in future. But if you're communicating with people who still believe in the concept of power, Veterans Today is an excellent address to lose this belief, because it 100% shows how ugly a system gets just because it is a system. Yeah.
Excellent.
So really
Veterans Today, great.
So we'll link that up. Also, Deborah Tavares has really good, she has her one video, Deborah Tavares Smart Dust. If you type that in, that's a pretty good video. Now, I watched her videos first, and I know I was kind of like fear-mongered. I didn't know that there was like, I didn't really know what was being sprayed. I just kind of thought like they're just spraying us with some bad stuff. When I found out that it's nano-sized RFID chips that like bore into your lung tissue, I was kind of fear-mongered, and like I was like, holy shit, like we're kind of screwed, it seemed. But that's not true, as I found from watching Harald's videos. Simon Parks is another excellent, has great videos on YouTube of many interviews. And Barry Trower is also another really good one. Just, he focuses mostly on Wi-Fi, but it's just good to like learn more and more about the different things we face, you know. And
excellent.
So, yeah.
And Shayne, what about some people on your Instagram? You must have some big accounts that you flow with, that you want to give a shout out to them so people can link up with their account and your account also?
Well, sure. If you go to Instagram, you go to my Instagram, if you go to who I'm following on there, like for example, Anonymous Truth Seeker, which is it's like 250,000 people follow his account, and he posts like relevant topics. The Organized Earth, you'll see basically who I'm following is like some pretty nice accounts for raising awareness, and they're like upper echelon there's 800 million or 500 million users on Instagram, and there's like a handful, or maybe let's say like 10 solid big accounts that are posting like, you know, relevant information. And so that includes, there's Sebas, SEHBAS. That's a good account too. My buddy Sebastian, Orgone. You'll see basically who I'm following on there is who I've like we're in group chats and stuff. So it's definitely good resources.
Excellent, guys. And there's a couple of things I just want to promote that's going on here in Australia. There's actually a thing called the Adini coal mine, which they're trying to get past, which is up near the Great Barrier Reef. And it's going to be like the biggest coal mine, I don't know, one of the biggest coal mines in the world. And what we're doing, we're spreading awareness to the fact that we don't want this coal mine here in Australia. It's interesting because the people who are promoting it, like they're always talking about coal, and then the next thing they talk about renewables, like wind farms and solar and all this. And it's like, man, I'm so sick of hearing about solar and wind farms and all this crap. And I really want this angelic technology. And people who are at home, I know of so many people who are in their garages tinkering around with over Unity devices and the cache devices and all these different types of things, and, you know, hydrogen setups. Guys, it's time to bring these devices out, right? The way we shut down these coal mines is to bring out the free energy devices. If you've got them at home, don't be in a state of fear. Bring them out. Make copies of them. Spread the information out there. Teach people how to build them. And let's start using these free energies rather than getting hooked in on solar with panels, wires, charge controllers, batteries. Oh, great, we've got new lithium batteries out. Like the army was using them 40 years ago, you know, like let's get up with the times and stop being scared about what they're going to do. That's the old energy. What we're going to do is we're going to bring out free energy. We're going to start doing biodynamic farming practices. We're going to bring micro farming back into the cities. We're going to start using hemp byproducts. So go out there and try and design a new hemp byproduct, because this is the way of the future. We have to get off coal. We have to get off all the farming practices which are going on around the world. We have to get off nuclear and all this crap. And if we can be sustainable for our own energy and our own waste in our houses, that's a massive thing off the food chain and the damage just going on in the world, plus eating meat, you know.
Yeah, there's actually one device available in Europe at the moment. It's an okay price, a couple of thousands of euros, and you have, I think, something between 12 and 15 kilowatts of electric power. Solid state device.
Wow.
No input, only output. And you get it, you have like 4 weeks time to check if it keeps on running. You can extract the full power. And then only after 6 weeks you have to pay. So it's a kind of good bargain, good deal, good security concept. Not to get.
And how long does that last for, Harold? How long does it last?
I don't know. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 100 years. It's supposed to be a kind of a back-engineered cooler device.
Okay.
Hans Kohler was an inventor, German inventor in the 30s, and he built a free energy supply for submarines for the German Navy during World War II.
Okay.
And it got lost how it works. There were kind of plans delivered, but they did not work with it because they had no scaling. And somebody in Zagreb managed to crack the scaling of the device, if I got it right. On the other hand, the pictures of the internal, they deliver a closed box you cannot even open because they want to keep a secret how it works. They delivered some pictures of the inner part of the machine, and it more looked like a Swiss device called Maternita. Testatica. Maternita is the group of people who build it. So I'm not 100% sure what is inside, but both, whether it's cooler or it's the Maternita, it's both the proven concepts that do work.
Amazing.
And it's available. It's available for okay money. So I will send you the link.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'd love that, man. It's
also, one more Instagram to mention is a guy who actually has a few questions that he wanted me to ask you, Harold. Just I'll ask you one for now, and we'll see how much long we're going. But Exposing the Skyline is a really nice guy. He's a working man, and he's been researching the esoteric side of things and whatnot for a while. He goes live now on Instagram as well, which is great. And a few of his questions were, well, I'll just read one. The black chemtrails. Is that black goo? Is that
carbon?
Desiccated blood? Is it what is these black chemtrails? Is it the alien type black goo, or do you know?
I don't know. I know one phenomenon that can be mistaken by a black as a black chemtrail. This is when you have a chemtrail at 10 kilometers height, and then you have a kind of cloud cover at 3 or 4 kilometers. So then you get a shadow of a chemtrail on top of a cloud layer, which looks like a black stripe. This is something that can be mistaken. I also saw like planes spraying real black shit into the air. But not for long. It was like doing it for 1 kilometer and then stopping. There were videos from from Chile, from the coastline, showing a plane doing this. I have no clue what is inside. The only thing I do know is that we did have black goo in raindrops in Germany.
Wow.
Okay. Because yeah, I mean, sometimes when you do see these, which at first look like they really do look like they should be shadows. It makes sense, but it was like a laser beam of a straight line of black, and then behind it they were spraying a trail, but it wasn't parallel to it. It was like on an angle, and then the trail stopped spraying, and the black chemtrail kept going for like miles and miles. So I don't know what it is. It doesn't really seem like it may even be articulate. It's like a laser beam or something. People don't know. We can only theorize at this point. So I thank you for.
I have no clue. I have no clue what it is.
I've got a video on YouTube where I videotaped one going over my parents' house, and it was spraying a white and then a black one. And I was trying to hold my camera up then, but you can't really see it. But it happened today when I was parked out at Cronulla. It was a big chemtrail that went right over the whole sky. And then the bottom half of it was all black. But the one on the video on my YouTube, it's really black. It's like something's pushed through the clouds and created a tunnel. But I've also seen videos on the internet where, because it seems to me like they used to be using tankers and military tankers, but now it seems like they're using drones, like they're using much smaller unmanned planes. Because I was down at Byron Bay, and it was a really weird day, man. I lost this ring, this copper ring, and I lost it. And I walked out into the beach, and there was just 4 big giant rings that were sprayed in front of me, like in rings, all the way down the beach. Rings. They're apparently putting demonic seals or some satanic crap. And I went into the water, and there was just 4 big fish around me. And I was like, they were just there either side of me in 4 rings. And I was the only person on the whole beach. And this is Byron Bay, man. Byron Bay is busy as. And there was black carbon that had been sprayed that day. But I saw videos later of a plane which was spraying, and it started going through the clouds, and then it turned into an orb. And it was like a white orb, which I'm assuming that if there's alien technology that's spraying, why wouldn't they use alien craft to inject it, you know? But
it's no longer, it's literally, I don't think, and I think Harald mentioned this maybe too, that it's not even like the technology to like, if you're flying an aircraft, you're military, there's technology to make your aircraft appear to be a cloud. It can literally look like a cloud or completely invisible. And so in my, I'm pretty sure that these planes that are spraying these trails are drone piloted, and they just look like a plane. Because when people zoom in with high power cameras at these planes that are spraying, they don't have windows. They don't have, the cockpit doesn't have windows. There's no ports on the bottom, nothing, no markings. It looks like CGI. It literally looks like CGI. So we think that it's a craft with the hologram around it of a plane, and it's drone piloted, which would explain why. What do they fill up the chemicals at the airport? No, they don't. You know, it's somewhere else.
I think there are 2 possibilities. One was very clear. I got pictures from an airport with a fleet of, I don't know, 50, 100 fake passenger planes with painted windows on the side.
What?
Yeah, so a little bit smaller, like there were drones or maybe piloted aircraft, but the outer appearance was of a passenger, of a normal passenger flight, but the windows were painted in silver color, even with the light reflections painted on the closed seal.
Wow.
Plane. So definitely they do fly drones or military airplane that are camouflaged as passenger planes. But also I saw chemtrails that kind of appeared out of nothing or appeared out of plane that partly disappeared when you had a close look. Like suddenly your wing is gone. And this is something, it's the blue beam technology. If you have the particulate plasma, you can draw a hologram into it, and you can make a plane appear where actually there's nothing. Remember 9/11, you know?
And that's actually how I connected some dots.
Okay, 9/11 was a different thing, because normally these plasma layers are not so close to the ground, but there were no planes in New York at 9/11 as well.
That's right.
This is all kind of, you have like manufactured videos, but the only people who claim to have seen planes in real life were all unemployed Hollywood actors. So, you know, this did not happen. So they have a kind of history of faking planes that are not existing. So what actually is there to create the illusion of a plane, we do not know. It might be completely alien technology. We might have guests here doing part of the more advanced spraying, creating holograms of planes to cover what they do. Possible as well. We don't know.
Yeah, I saw a video surface with 9/11 a while back, and it was one I hadn't seen before, and it was a really good, quite good quality, just panning. There was a helicopter just slowly panning around, and they're talking about a plane, but all you see is this orb come across the screen, and then it goes into the building, then the building goes, and the building explodes, and then you see this orb going, like, taking off that way through the cloud. I mean, it could have been CGI, but it looked pretty legit to me. And I had to rewind it a few times and really have a look, but it was a little orb that was interfacing with 9/11. I mean, you guys have seen that. What's that chick's name who does that big slideshow about the scalar frequency weapons that, you know, knocks the rubble out? 9/11. What's her name?
Oh, dude. That's really what I was just going to bring up.
Yeah.
John Hutchison is a guy who was messing around with surplus military hardware in his garage. He actually lives in British Columbia in Canada here, and he was messing around with frequencies, and he could like levitate objects with frequencies, which is how they, you know, build the pyramids and stuff. And then jellification of metal. So metal will like metal will just explode, or like not even explode, just kind of like jellificate and turn into like vaporize it. Yeah. And he was doing that with frequencies in his garage. That's what connected the dots for me as how they brought the towers down. Yes, there was a bit of thermite involved, but there was also like they hit directed energy weapons at these towers, and that dropped all that steel because they would need a lot of freaking explosives, which they did use, but I think they used a combination.
Yeah, there's a woman, I'll put the link up later, and she does a 3-hour slide, and it shows like the directed energy weapon, how all the cars for like 2 miles leading up to the buildings, they're all melted on the road. And I mean melted to the ground, like bonnets melted on the ground, molten metal all the way up to the building. But it also explains how when a building falls to the ground, if it's 100 stories, the rubble will be 13% of the actual the footprint of the building. So a 100-story building, the rubble will be 13 stories at the bottom. That's the general consensus for buildings that collapse. And there's actually not many images on the internet that you can find of this. I've got them somewhere on hard drives. I did save them, but it's a helicopter view that pans over the top of the buildings, and it's like building 3 and 5. And basically one of the buildings, there's absolutely no rubble. There's just a hole on the inside, just an empty hole. And there's tables and chairs piled up, because what this frequency weapon does, they set the frequency for concrete and steel. So everything else, wood, pencils, chairs, they're not the same frequency. So there was 2 stories of chairs piled up with nothing under it. And there's actually eyewitness accounts who are in the bottom level. Yeah, I'll send you this slideshow, man. It's incredible. She nails it. And so these people were in the bottom level, and they heard this frequency, and they're all like screaming for their lives, like, you know, and then they're just standing there like huddling in the car park, or, you know, level 1. Anyway, half an hour later, the smoke starts clearing. There's all tables and stuff everywhere, and they're all alive. Not one single rock hit them in the head, because the frequency vaporized everything. And these people survived in the bottom level of the 9/11 tower, and there's this wooden tables and chairs everywhere, you know. So that they don't talk about that, because everyone's like, where'd the rubble go? And it's like, yeah, it disappeared. It got vaporized from the top down, and that's why the building, you see, it's going like this. The building's exploding because a frequency weapon lines it up, hits the top, and then vaporizes downwards. That's why you saw like dust pluming off as it went down. It was a, you know, bit of a controlled demolition to hide the fact that they used that weapon. Yeah.
If somebody now thinks this was a high-tech fairy tale, we can compare it to the official version. We had 4 videotapes taken of the collapsing buildings with the planes flying in. They were all broadcasts on different TV stations, you know. Yeah. And if you compare the 4 different pictures taken with 4 different cameras in 4 different locations of New York City, from 4 different angles, you know, so big distance between the 4 camera spots. And if you compare the 4 videos, you have in all of them a woman screaming, "Oh my God!" And then it goes. And the funny thing is that the woman is the same woman in all 4 tapes. You can kind of cut out the "oh my God," take the voice line, compare it, put it on each other. It's exactly the same voice line. And if you take the bush of the plane coming in and you time reverse it, it's a hi-hat, you know, from drums.
Right. Oh.
So this is definitely, you have 4 different tapes that were sound engineered using the same template of a woman screaming, "Oh my God," and the same time reverse crash of a hi-hat, you know, entered the moment when the Photoshop plane that first managed to cross the building without interacting, pushing its nose out on the other side. This is when, with the second broadcasting, they had the black frames kind of introduced, like the camera failed at that moment to hide the nose pointing out of the other side of the building. If you prefer to believe that it's possible that one and the same woman cries or screams, "Oh my God," at 4 different places of New York at the same second, you might as well believe in this fairy tale.
They weren't very good at false flags back then.
Yeah, just to kind of, I think it's on purpose. I think they fake it in such a bad way to kind of bring people into a state of, you know, it's impossible that I'm living in this world. You know, if this is fake, the fake is so bad that it cannot be faked. Like something like 1 millimeter from the light, you might change position. But if the truth is so far out from reality, people do not dare to jump. And I think this is something systematically that they are building up this fake matrix of history and things type of truth or reality, that it becomes impossible for people to jump back into reality because it's just too far away. I think this has some systematic points.
Totally. Everything's so unbelievable that it's like the most basic, simple, critical thinking isn't happening anymore. People aren't like putting 2 and 2 together. They can't even put two together. It's like it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how blatantly obvious it is. They're just like, nah, not interested. Too far to my awareness or my consciousness or something like that, you know. So it is a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the only thing that I can still come up with is just to walk away from that system. You know, just leave them behind. Don't give them any attention, any belief, any money, nothing, you know. This is crap. If we come to the States, like we just had elections with a choice, you know, you could choose from greedy and what else? Sexually uncontrolled, you know, like a complete monster. Choice number 1. Choice number 2, a black magic woman that had this cannibalism disease from drinking blood, you know, with the rolling eyes and the hysterical laughter. So this is the choice within a democratic, the biggest democratic nation of the world. The choice that is in the cinemas. I would walk out because, you know, you cannot try to make me believe such a stupid story, you know, bad script writing. But this is supposed to be our reality. So, you know, just step out of that cinema. You know, the story doesn't work anymore. They just came to the limits of what can be manufactured as a matrix. It doesn't work anymore. Game over. And now the question is, are we looking for the next show? Or are we walking out of that cinema to start with the real life?
Wow.
And real life, as far as I understand the possibilities and the potential of humanity, is not about technology. We are divine beings with divine abilities. And we need to cleanse ourselves after this nightmare of a film and come back to our full potential. I don't need synthetic telepathy in form of mobile phones when I have natural telepathy with everybody I love. You know, we don't need that crap. We don't need that destruction. All we need is to rediscover ourselves, and that's it. And we won't do that staring at the TV to find out who is going to rule us next. No way.
100%. 100%, Harald. That's spot on the money. Thank you very much for that last statement. We've got to exit. We've got to create a new system.
Not even a system. What for?
Yeah, true.
We need to live.
Yeah.
We need to love. And the rest is non-linear. We are, our species is a non-linear species. Everything they try to impose on us is linear. And this is coming from the devil. This is about control. Yeah? And a system in itself is a bad idea. Imagine we have no system. There would be no crap happening in this world. Every crap that happens is systematic. So why doesn't anyone think about getting rid of this stupid idea that a system could work?
I find some people argue like we couldn't govern ourselves, like people couldn't govern themselves, but instead a few handfuls of people can govern hundreds of millions and billions of people. Does that sound like that logic is so flawed? You know, like we couldn't govern ourselves, we need a government to. So the people in government, you know what I mean? Like it literally, there's a bit of cognitive dissonance there, I would say.
And it's to do with also education. Well, not education, but just self-awareness. If you have a bunch of conscious people, man, you see some communities of people are living together and they're fucking thriving, you know, because they teach everyone, just say you have a skill, that skill gets taught to every person in the community so they can all do that skill. So that person passes on or whatever, there's another 50 people who can do it. So when you're teaching and learning from people living in the bush in symbiotic nature, in symbiosis with nature, like you don't need laws and times and dates and governing because you're just working. You're planting food, you're making love, you're in the sun, you're doing what we're meant to be doing, and it becomes easy. You don't have to think about what you do in the morning. You get up and you do what feels right. You get up and do what's gonna put food in your mouth. You know, you help other people selflessly, and that's something I'm not seeing much of these days. Is people helping selflessly. It's like everyone's climbing the food chain, trying to be the most famous or the toughest or the coolest or the one with the most friends or whatever it is. And it's like, that's the decay in society when we have people fighting for something when we should be working together. I mean, even the truth community is divided up down to the core with people who are like, fuck you, flat earther, or F you, round earther. It's like, shit, man. Like, seriously, like, if everything else you guys is the same, that because of that one belief, and it's just a belief, that's all it is. It's a freaking belief. It's not going to make any difference to what's going on here at this point in time. It is a big topic that, you know, eventually it'd be nice to understand what's going on. But right now, like, why are we fighting over something when we're on the same team? And then that steps up to religion. You're on the same team. You've been tricked. Then that steps up to different races. You're all the same. You just got different color skin. You know, we all came from the same source in the first place. And if we can just get that through our heads, which is the number one thing, unity, people working together and not having a divide, any sort of separation is a separation from God, is a separation from yourself. But I guess what years and years of religious indoctrination and stuff has turned us into these people who are in a competition with each other.
Well said.
All right, guys. Well, I think we've smashed a few topics today. I reckon I think we should follow up again in about 3 weeks and link in a bunch of things we didn't do this time, and kind of polish it off. But that was Harald, man. This is going to be an amazing video, and it's going to be annoying for me to put the photos in, I tell you.
All different topics.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you so much for what you do, Harold. And what was the email address that people can donate to you and keep you supported? Can you put that out for us again?
KAUTZVELLA@gmail.com.
Kautz
Vella.
So no Harold at the beginning?
Yeah.
No, just Kautz Vella.
Okay.
No, just Sunny.
Cool. And if guys want to connect with Shayne, jump onto Connecting Consciousness on Instagram, connecting_consciousness, or find him Shayne Benattar Facebook. Same with Harald Kautz Vella on Facebook. I don't think you're not that active on Facebook, are you, Harold?
Not so much. Cool. I read the messages from time to time, but I don't manage to read all of them. And just, you know, if there are like lectures out there or conferences or whatever, if there's a nice interview, I will link this one on Facebook just to satisfy the friends.
Right.
But you know, this is Zuckerberg. This is one of the evil organizations, and I'm not into that.
Right.
I use it for just because people wanted to connect to me in that way. But I cannot say I like it.
All right. Well, the way we'll finish up is I just want each person just to quickly give some people something they can do to take action to do with their health, the detoxing, the geoengineering, what they can do at home when they leave, because we want to leave with some solutions, but also steps they can take in the real world about spreading awareness, or just basically hitting people up, politicians, etc., because I always say this, the internet is a closed circuit, it's a closed loop. Everything that goes on the internet pretty much stays in the internet. Majority of people watch these videos or anything on the internet, and then they close the laptop down after, they go outside and they don't do anything that they learned off the YouTube clip. So what I want to do is basically like a little checklist for people for things that they can do, because if we just take one little step each day in the real world, taking real world action, that's enough to shift the whole entire system. Everyone feels disempowered, like what can we do? You know, they're doing this, they're doing that, they got all this money. It's like there's 20,000 of them, if we're going to use this duality fucking paradigm. There's only 20,000 of them and all their friends and family worldwide. And there's 7.3 billion of us. So let's work that out, guys. If you're on a battlefield and there's 20,000 people and there's 7.3 billion people, what's going to pan out? Okay. But if there's 7.3 billion people divided into 50,000 different little divided sects, which are all arguing and fighting, okay, that 20,000 will more than likely conquer us, which is what's going on at the moment. So this is about unifying. This is about coming back to nature. My 2 cents is, guys, get out in nature. You know what I mean? Get into the sun, get into the ocean. If you have access to things like that, use it as much as you possibly can. One of my protocols for people, I tell them to get on the diatomaceous and also the hemp biochar. I use hemp biochar, which is a very heavily negatively charged substance for pulling out heavy metals. Getting the heavy metals out is a good start to getting the health back on track and getting that microbiome in the stomach, that gut flora, getting that happening using digestive enzymes, prebiotics, probiotics, eating the kimchi, drinking the kombucha and the kefir, all these fermented fruits and vegetables. Simple things you can do yourself to raise your own frequency. Do that inner work, do that meditation, do that mindfulness, play music, play instruments. If you have songs that make you feel elated, and brings that love frequency in, put that music on. Wake up in the morning, chuck that music on in the morning, so when you get up, you're psyched. You're straight away on your game. You're into the flow state. You're out there doing your stuff. So that's my 2 cents about the food and the health. And just get out there and take action, as in you can print out documents off even geoengineeringwatch.org, you know, that Dane Wigington fella. You can print off stuff off his website and then hand them out, put them in people's letterboxes, you know, spread some awareness, talk to people, but without being that guy who's trying to force information down someone's throat. You either plant a seed and you jet. The second type of person is they're already awake, and no matter how much information you give them, they're like a sieve and they're just like, bring it on. And the third way you can do it is just by being that expression of truth and love. You know, if you are living and breathing your truth and you're healthy, you're eating the food and you're going about your day in that love frequency, that's enough. You don't have to do any more than that. You're doing a really good job just by being that person. So what would you like to add to that, Shayne?
Well, that's perfect. That's especially because the sun, when you mentioned the sun, our auric field, essentially, when it gets hit with the biophotons from the sun, something to do with that, like information is carried on the light wave spectrum that we see. And so when your auric field, which is like 8 to 10 feet outside of your actual physical body, it extends, get into the sunlight. There's a big reason why they like to cover up the sun, and it is, to my knowledge, because it is helping to raise consciousness on the earth right now, is the sunlight hitting your auric field. So get in the sun as much as you can. Don't put on sun block, which we know is carcinogenic, and instead put on coconut oil. And if you're the less melanated variety and you're a little more fair skin, obviously just monitor your amount that you're in the sun. If you're not used to getting 8 hours of sunlight in a day and all of a sudden you go somewhere and you just get sun fried, you know, obviously put on the coconut oil, take a break into the shade. But the sunlight is a very important thing, which is why they do try to cover it up from us. So yeah, it's a good addition there.
Excellent. Thanks, man. What about you, Harald? You want to tuck something in?
Nothing content-wise, just a principle. Very often people come up to me and ask me, how can I make my neighbor understand all this? And this is a typical one that is forwarding responsibility. And I always say just the only way to reach your neighbor is by inspiration. And you can inspire people if you live things yourself. Yeah, because if we don't take this direct form of self-responsibility, we will try to save each other for ages. But the actual work needs to be done by every single individual. And you cannot convince somebody to do something unless you do it yourself. This is what inspiration is about. And this is the first step to be.
So true.
And then it goes one by one.
Amazing. All right, beautiful. Thank you very much, Harald, and thank you very much, Shayne, for your wisdom and words. And I look forward to doing more talks for you guys in the future. I had a bit of a break there for a while, so I just gave it a rest. I wasn't feeling up to it, you know what I mean? I just wasn't feeling the calling, but now, yeah, I definitely think this is a good time to start whacking up some new information on the internet again and get people empowered. And thank you to all the people out there every week who listen and comment and post and share and like these videos. It really helps us if you share it and repost it and tell it to your friends, because we're cross-pollinating, we're spreading information out there. We don't get paid for any of this. Like I said, one way you can help is by sharing these videos, because these videos are touching people, they are transforming them. The feedback and the comments that we're getting is amazing. And thank you so much, guys, for telling us that. It keeps us doing it. It keeps us coming back. You are the reason why we're doing it. We want to help you guys, and we want to see a better planet and a better world. And yeah, we'll see you on the next gathering of momentum. Speak to you soon.
Man, thanks a lot for connecting us.
You're welcome.